Elliott K1 to 2.5 forecast. Another hot one on tap for today, mostly sunny around the barbecues and the temperature in the mid-90s. The feline temperature 105. The heat advisory will continue. Partly cloudy in the muggy mid-70s overnight. A chance of a shower thunderstorm Thursday and Friday. A blend of sun and clouds with temperatures in the low to mid-90s each day. Jonesboro, that's your Elliott K1 to 2.5 FM weather.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. The 12 boys and their football coach trapped in a cave in Thailand say they're in good health. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak's appeared in court less than 2 months after being voted out of office. The Indian government's pulling up the Facebook-owned instant messaging service WhatsApp, asking it to take urgent steps to prevent the spread of misinformation. And after England beat Colombia on penalties in Russia, they'll play Sweden in the World Cup quarter-finals on Saturday.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on this 4th of July, and I hope each and every one of you has a great, blessed, and most importantly, safe 4th of July. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is flying solo in the studio with you today. Kubila's at home resting, and I'm not mad at her. Joining us today is Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott, and he's actually being faithful. You know, he comes in the first Wednesday of each month, and we asked him, did he want to come today? And he said, sure. So here he is, and we're getting ready to start. And we already got some Facebook shout out to Cora Evans Hester, Reverend Dr. Greg Ota, David Carnes, who says listening in from Dauphin Allen, Alabama. Well, David, I'm slick jealous of you. And Quabila says good morning. So
good morning to all, and a happy 4th to everyone in Jonesboro.
All right, so Chief, we're going to kind of start off a little different than what we usually do. As you know, this is the 4th of July, and one thing that people may not realize is that police officers typically do not get holidays off. They don't get to take off like other people do. They have to work, which means, you know, officers will miss the family cookout, the gathering. It's a sacrifice that officers make to serve and protect. And of course, you yourself, you've been in the law enforcement, I believe, 37 years now?
37, going 38 years.
So 38 years. So I'm sure that you have spent many of holiday out patrolling the streets and working.
Absolutely.
So why don't you just kind of tell the listeners what it's like when the officer has to work a holiday such as the 4th?
Well, sure. It's one of those things you have to think about when you sign on the job, that there's holidays that's going to be missed, or you have to reschedule your family time around holidays. So the officers working today, they'll have to spend their holiday time this afternoon when they get off shift, and so you just kind of, you have to adjust with your schedules and things like that. So this job, you know, does require a lot of time away from your families. There's, you know, soccer games and football games, basketball games that officers have to miss because of work. So it does take away from your family. Sometimes it can cause stress on your family, but you know, they try to cope with it the best they can and make the most out of their family time when they are off.
And how has your family handled it during your career?
Well, you know, again, I've had to miss different events, but it just, you know, you look at the schedule and you just kind of plan ahead. So if you're going to get together with family members, you may do it the day before or the day after, or again after work hours. So it just takes a little bit more planning, you know, planning ahead.
Alrighty, we have another Facebook shout out. Sonia Hunter says, "Happy 4th." Got a few people on the Facebook live feed.
Everybody's listening today. That's a good thing.
And of course, if you have any questions or comments for Chief Elliott, then you can post those questions on our live feed, or you can give us a call at 870-277-1080. Now, Chief, of course, continuing on our theme of July 4th, of course, One thing that goes along with the 4th is fireworks, and of course, fireworks have already started popping off all over town. And I think there was a big fireworks display last night. There's going to be another one tonight.
Southside Softball Complex.
But Gail Raspberry says, shout out to all of those who are on the clock today. But of course, we know there are people who are popping fireworks all throughout town. Now, technically, there's a city ordinance against that, but we both know that it still goes on anyway. So,
right.
How does the police department actually handle people popping fireworks around town?
Well, once we start getting complaints on fireworks being discharged, and obviously the officers are going to be dispatched out to the whatever location, and they'll ask the people discharging to cease. And hopefully at that point they will, because obviously it's become a nuisance to somebody around them. It does go on, and we don't have time during the day to go out seeking people discharging fireworks. We got other things going on, but usually the complaints on fireworks come in the evening hours, and especially late evening hours. People starting to go to bed, and you got people around still discharging fireworks. That's when we start getting a lot of phone calls about it. So, again, the law is that you can't discharge fireworks in the city limits of Jonesboro. You may be ticketed, you may not. Typically, we just ask people to comply, and for the most part, people do comply if they're approached by the police and asked to stop doing it because they're disturbing someone.
Alrighty. Speaking with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott, we got another comment from, and I apologize if I pronounced this wrong, but it's Dreislin Herman, who says happy 4th of July. Well, happy 4th of July to you. So, Kabila, even though she is not here, she had some questions for you. So we're going to get into her questions. And the first one, she says, I watched a video game about a guy destroying toys that resemble weapons that actually have gotten innocent people killed. His message was to parents was to stop buying kids toys that can be altered to look like the real things. I had my own experience with this a few years ago. My son's granny bought him a BB gun that had the same weight and look as a Glock. I stayed on him about taking it out and flashing it in a way that would get him in trouble.
Right.
Long story short, when I was still driving, I had to go down the street to get him because someone called the cops about teens waving guns around. The officer wouldn't let them go until their parents came. Of course, I was pissed off. I ended up taking the guns and eventually throwing them away. My question is, does buying kids weapons increase desire or demystify the desire to own real ones later in life, or does not buying them affect their curiosity to want to own one or not? I know it's essentially up to the parent to teach their kids about safety and all. We both know that media / music / movies has had an influence on the younger generation of today.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest influence is the media, the movies, and the hype around guns, flashing guns, and sometimes the media portrays it as a glamorous lifestyle or whatever. But I think that's the driving factor in creating a curiosity around kids wanting to get a hold of guns. And a lot of times it starts out with buying these replica airsoft guns that look and feel just like a real gun, and these kids think that it's cool to carry this around and flash it, and it ups their status on the street, that they got a handgun on them. But on the other hand, it puts them at a risk because you start flashing it to the wrong person, and we have a lot of people carrying concealed carry weapons around town, and you flash somebody that may be carrying concealed, they're going to look at it as a threat, and they may start shooting, and then next thing you know, we've got a young child that's been shot, but due to his own actions. But when you're waving something around that looks real, you increase your chances of getting shot, either by the public or by the police. We have had several encounters over the years. We encounter youth carrying these things or having them in their waistbands, and we've had times that officers approach them and they tell them, get your hand off the gun or drop the gun or whatever, and they fail to do so for a few seconds there, and it puts the officer at a moment that I'm fixing to pull the trigger on this young man because he's got a weapon and is posing a threat. and then come to find out it's an airsoft. And we've heard this story across the country time and time that, you know, these things happen. So I'm really against these replica guns being pushed out. I think it's just a danger to these kids, because some kids just don't think everything through, but yet they want to carry them around, and just putting them at risk to be hurt. So my suggestion is, if you're a parent, you know, and your child's got something like this, it's not something to carry around and go play with. It's not going to do anything but get your child in trouble somewhere down the line.
Well, and I would agree with you. I would even go a step further and say parents shouldn't allow them to have it, because, again, especially when I think about what I learned in Citizens Police Academy about officers stopping a threat, like you mentioned, you know, you only got like a couple seconds to make a decision, and if you got something that looks real and, you know, you're acting like you're going to do something with it, well, the reaction is, I got to protect my life, so I'm going to, you know, take you out. So, you know, you don't put yourself in that situation, at least.
That is correct. So
at least I would. And also agree with you with, I think the manufacturers shouldn't be making things that look so real, or if they are, I know that they put like the little orange cap on them.
Well,
I think they should go further than that.
Yeah, well, they put the orange cap on, but people cut the orange cap off or paint the orange cap to match the gun. So when they're pointing the gun at you, you don't see the orange cap. So that's generally the first thing that's done. So that's a problem. We got an evidence room full of this stuff that, you know, we've shown to the media before, and, you know, how problematic it is and has been.
All right, we got a couple more Facebook shout-outs. Dr. Sharice Jones-Brent says good morning.
And good morning, Dr.
And
Jones.
shout out to Cassie Brent. Hey, Cassie, it's been a while since we heard from you. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, good morning, Cassie, yeah.
And Elizabeth Castillo-Klein, who I just mentioned Citizens Police Academy. Elizabeth was in CPA Session 2 with me, so we're kind of transitioning into that. So I believe we had a class graduate this spring and one that's going to be coming up this fall, so let's talk a little bit about that.
It is. We don't have the date set just yet, but Sergeant Lyle Waterworth will be getting things geared up for that hopefully pretty soon. We'll get some dates announced and start taking applications for that program. It's been a great program so far. We have now graduated over 200 people through this program in less than 4 years, and you know, it all goes back to Cassie Brandon. You know, she worked for the police department. She put this program together and developed a curriculum, and it's been a great program. And, you know, other departments across the state has seen our program and has started the same. So it has spread, and we see the benefits from it. You know, we're educating the citizens in Jonesboro about policing, what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, and these people are better informed on what's going on, and you know, they can educate others when they start talking about policing or second guessing what police do. The folks that's gone through this program can say, no, this is the reality, and you know, versus the myth. So it's a great program. We're going to continue the program. Again, we're running the program twice a year. We'll do a session in the fall and then a session in the spring. So just hopefully by the next time I come on the show, we'll have some dates set, and we'll start taking applications by then for the programming. The class is we'll run for 12 weeks. It'll be on a Thursday night, 1 night a week for 12 weeks. And we cover all aspects of the police department and policing and what we do. So everybody gets exposed to a little bit of everything that's going on in the world of policing. And
as a graduate of CPA, and I've said this before, and I will always say this, I encourage people out there to participate in it, especially in today's climate in which there's tension throughout the country amongst police officers and the community. You know, they see the incidents of on TV and on social media. Well, this is an opportunity to learn about the police department. Not only that, but to engage the police department, to voice your concerns, voice your displeasures, or any concerns that you may have, because like they say, they take this feedback seriously, and they use it, you know, to make themselves better. And you know, and in my class, you know, there were some times where there were some discussions about some things that was not pleasant. So,
well, that's part of it. We want the goal is to get heated discussion sometimes because, your perspective on something versus somebody else, we want to hear both views. And the whole course is, we learn from each other. We're learning from the public on their views and how they feel about certain things. So the officers that are up there presenting and talking about the material, they're learning also. And as an administrator of the department, I'm sitting back listening and, learning and making appropriate changes if need be. So it's education, and it's going both ways. And, as I've always said, we learn more when we talk to each other instead of at each other. And so the program has been great for us.
Absolutely, and you have a lot of fun too. My favorite part was the ride-alongs. Got a few more Facebook shout-outs. Quabila says that's exactly what my son did, spray painted. So
yeah,
there you go.
That's typically what we see is take those airsoft guns and do that. And maybe by the next show, I may bring a sample in or something we can look at and talk about.
Sounds good to me. Tracy Lane Snell says happy 4th, and Elizabeth Castile Klein says absolutely. All right, we're going to get into Quabila's next question is, there have been 154 mass shootings this year alone. I want to ask, how do crime analysts evaluate this data to assist police force and other authorities when cracking down on these type of crimes? But on the real, because of some of the evidence presented on the individual who did the shooting, usually mental illness or some sort of disconnect, can this type of crime even be prevented or controlled?
Well, that's $1 billion question, and if I had an answer for that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be making millions.
Probably retired.
Probably so. Yes, when you're dealing with individuals that get to this point in life that they start taking the lives of other human beings, obviously police and analysts and everybody tries to look at the root behind it, what's going on in this person's life to make them do something like this. And, the FBI has studied this, the United States Secret Service has put out studies on this, and it's ongoing, and, there's a lot of it there. Some folks do have some mental problems and some other personal issues going on in life. You see those consistencies, but you can't just go around and lock up people that may have a mental problem because, we don't have enough facilities anyway. So then if
and we're still trying to get the crisis unit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, it's a big problem across the country. And there's this is not a time for states and federal government to cut funding for mental health. We have people, every community has people that has people with mental health issues that sometimes they just can't get it addressed or get the proper help and get them taken care of, or when they do go in a program, it's not long enough. They just kind of get them in and get them out, and not really receiving what they need, and that's the problem in a lot of cases. But you look at these school shootings, at the kids involved. There's a few things that are common in nature. A lot of times they say, well, they've been picked on or been bullied. So we try to stress that, the schools to have a no bullying policy, in the schools. But, in life now, just people tend to make comments about each other, either on social media and just day in and day out, and respect for others is not what it used to be years ago. So you're seeing that in schools, and how can you enforce that in schools and when your parents and everybody else is out there being rude about others on different social media outlets? So, and
not only that, even with the political discourse, now you have adults shouting at each other, calling each other
absolutely.
Names on the left and the right.
That's right. I mean, right now our country. The Democrats and Republicans, are at it and name calling, and so how are you going to tell your kid don't do this when the adults are doing it? So I think everybody needs to grow up a little bit and have a little bit more respect for each other, not just here but across the whole country. That you're creating some problems here, and then when people start acting out and doing crazy things like this, it compounds the problem. But I don't have the answer for this, and obviously we've had our share of incidents in our area, and but it just, a lot of it I say goes back to the home. Parents need to be the parent and raise their kids and teach their kids good family values and good morals. And that's another thing across our country. Families have gotten away from family time and going to church and things like that, and we've taken God out of the schools and God out of our families, and the consequences is
Well, you have a loss of morality.
That's right. And so until we as a society kind of change what we're doing, then this path of destruction is only going to get worse.
Got a couple more Facebook shout out to Corey Randall Sr., Dr. Kristen Johnson, June Taylor, and Ashley Rogers. Appreciate each one of you for checking in on our Facebook Live
Absolutely.
feed.
Good morning. Sounds like everybody got up to tune in today.
Yep. Quiana Border Smith says prayer is the key. Elizabeth Klein says, yes, parents need to be parents, not friends. And
I agree. It's get back to parenting your child and raising them and teaching them some values. Don't let the internet raise your child, because what they're learning on the internet's not always positive.
Well, and of course, as we get ready to go to break, I'll just say this. If you don't discipline your kids, the police will. And when the police do it, it won't be as pretty. We're going to leave it at that. We'll be back with more with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott. Don't go anywhere. It's a community conversation on KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Do you expect the unexpected when it comes to parenting? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. When our kids are young, we map out in our minds what we want for them. We want them to be successful in school, in work, and in relationships. But many unexpected things will occur in their lives. Our kids will fail, face rejection, get sick, and make poor choices. A key to parenting is to expect the unexpected when raising your kids. Here are 3 reasons why. First, it helps you avoid overreacting. Expecting the unexpected will help keep you from feeling frustrated or disappointed when your child performs less than perfectly. For the rest of the reasons to expect the unexpected in parenting, check out my blog at markmerrill.com. Remember, your family first.
Family Minute is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Support for KLEK is brought to you by
At Glen Sane, we don't just sell cars and trucks. We build relationships. This is Danny Ford. We have a long list of customers that are also our friends. Always know we're here for you. Glen Sane, God bless our troops.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
The McDaniel Law Firm, 400 South Main Street in Jonesboro, is a firm believer in justice and equality for the minority community. The McDaniel Law Firm has fought for our rights for over 44 years. The McDaniel Law Firm offers legal help for wrongful death as well as trucking and automobile accidents. Bobby and Brett McDaniel are available for a free consultation at 870-336-4747 or at www.mcdaniellawyers.com.
Hello, I'm Officer Victoria Evans. I have always had a desire to help others in need and to be an example and role model to young women by encouraging them to never give up on their dreams. My dream was to become a police officer and to serve my community. In 2016, that dream became a reality, and it is the most rewarding experience of my life. Now I want to let you know about the same opportunity. The Jonesboro Police Department will conduct testing every month for patrol officers. Applications are available online at jonesboropolice.com or at the Police Department, 1001 South Caraway Work. The Jonesboro Police Department offers a competitive salary, health, and retirement benefits, top-of-the-line training, and most importantly, the chance to make a difference in the Jonesboro community. Join me in making Jonesboro a better place. The Jonesboro Police Department is an equal opportunity employer, and women and minorities are especially encouraged to apply. More information is available at 870-935-5657.
The key to making this station even better could be parked in your driveway right now. Donate your old car to us, you'll get a tax deduction, and we'll tow it away for free.
Go to klekfm.org for more information.
House of Details, located at 3217 Herb Street, Suite C, is a proud supporter of KLEK, offering detailing on any type of vehicle. Waxing, clear coat protection, basic wash, hand wash, shampoo, interior cleaning, buffering, headlight restoration, pickup, delivery, and more. With a motto of, anything mean, we can clean. Details available via Quentin Bogard at 870-273-5187. House of Details on Facebook and houseofdetailsjonesboro.com.
Celebrating the 4th with friends and family.
Being with family. Fireworks and barbecue.
Happy 4th of July!
KLEK 102.5 FM. And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with our guest, Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott. And we've been having a great discussion and definitely been getting some good comments on our Facebook live feed. And of course, you can leave your questions and comments on our live feed or give us a call at 870-277-1080. And my next question, this is from Quibila's List, this is actually an interesting one, Chief. She says, how do the police deal with handicapped people when they have to arrest them? Have they looked into getting a special vehicle just for that, or do they call an ambulance to transport suspects if they're in a wheelchair or simply unable to get in the back of the police car? So how would that be handled?
Well, very seldom ever happens, but when it does, just if they're wheelchair bound, then get them in the back of the car just like you would any vehicle, and transport. There's been times, in court, somebody in a wheelchair have to get or been sentenced to jail, and have to be transported. So it just depends on the person and their handicap. If if they're can get in the car, then they will. And
but what let's say if someone was paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah, well, again,
would the officer have to place the person up and call for additional officer to help lift them?
It may take a couple officers to get the person transitioned into a vehicle and then and moved on. But we also have the capability of local ambulance services have wheelchair units that we can contact also. But very seldom does this happen. But we'll do what we got to do to accommodate the individual.
And I'm sure that you all do try to be careful when handling them.
Well, sure. It's
don't want to injure them.
Right. Yeah, again, this is not. We don't encounter this very often, and if a lot of times if you're dealing with somebody and say if they are handicapped but able to drive, we do have the option of just citing people to court. Mm-hmm. But again, generally what we see is after they go to court and may be sentenced to jail, that's generally what we see is when we have to deal with transporting. And it depends on the individual. They just may be asked to drive their own selves out to the jail. It's kind of a case by case scenario.
Well, definitely an interesting situation.
It does present unique challenges at times. It's like the job does. There's not necessarily a policy or procedure on everything that we have to encounter in life. It's just the officer has to kind of sit back, evaluate it, and take the best course of action that he or she thinks it's appropriate at the time. And, if they don't have an answer, come up with an answer, then they have supervisors they can turn to, and collectively they can come up with a way to handle the situation.
All right. We are speaking with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott, and of course you can leave your questions or comments on our Facebook Live feed, or give us a call at 870-277-1080, and we will happily take your questions and your comments. So my next question is, Chief, I believe you've been on the job coming up on 4 years now.
Right.
And of course, as we mentioned during the Juneteenth, right at the time that you took over, I was in the process of starting the station, and of course you agreed to come on, and you've been on here ever since, and we're certainly thankful for that. So going back to that time, how would you gauge the progress that has been made as far as community relations and community policing?
Well, I think we've made some huge improvements over from what we were over 4 years ago. We've seen our minority applicants increase. We've hired more minorities, over the past 4 years.
More women.
But a lot of that is due to coming on this program and just reaching out to the community on a different avenue of recruiting. In the past, typically we'd advertise in the paper, and face it, a lot of folks just don't read the newspaper want ads anymore. They get everything off social media, so we had to change the way that we recruit, and that was one of the things I did, was bring in a community outreach officer, and at the time that's Sergeant Cassie Brandon, and to really look at how we recruit people. So we changed those practices, and then coming on this station and talking about it, and then having our officers doing public service announcements, and talking about the job, and it has increased our minority applicant pool greatly. So we've accomplished. We're a little bit more diverse department than we were 4 years ago. So it's not a perfect world yet, but it's a work in progress, and we're always looking to and make things better than what it was.
And I'd just like to add to that the community events, both events that you all have put on, such as the trunk or treat. In fact, I saw Officer Easley yesterday, and I was asking him, had he started planning the next one, and he said he's working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you all have Shop with a Cop, right, the fishing derby, and then also JPD also comes out to community events. Chief came and spoke at our Juneteenth event. We had a couple officers on patrol stop by, hang out for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, any event in which you would like the police department to come hang out, to come speak, they're certainly happy to do that. And by doing those things in the community, it allows for the officers to get to know the community, and the community to get to know them. Because typically, if you notice the incidents throughout the country in which things have not gone so well, typically the officers didn't really know the community in which
right.
they were working in, and so there was animosity and tension. Whereas when the officers in the community know each other, it lessens the chances of bad things happening. Not saying that they won't happen, but
right.
it brings them down.
Unfortunate things do happen in the community from time to time. I mean, it's part of what we do, and sometimes some situations turn ugly. But when your community understands what you're doing and has trust in your police department that you will do the right thing, investigate it properly, and whatever, that you'll know that they realize that everything's going to be done properly and handled properly, then you don't have that tension that you have seen in some of these other places. So in order to, build trust in the police department, we do community events. We host community events. We participate because we want to interact with the community. We host the Citizen Police Academy because we want this interaction. We want to learn from the community. And again, all these projects together, in the past 4 years, we've seen differences and we've seen attitude changes, and the climate has changed. And like I said, there's still people out there that have distrust or whatever, but hopefully at some point in time we can reach out to them and build that bridge and make it a little bit better with them also. So we can't tackle it all at once, but we'll do a little bit here and there and make a difference. And like I said, in 4 years I think we've made a huge difference, but and we'll continue on. This is an ongoing process. It will never stop as long as I'm here, as trying to build a bridge with the community and keep a good relationship with the community going on.
Absolutely. And we got a Facebook shout out. Tanya Spencer Brewer Towery says happy 4th, or happy 4th, Tanya. I believe Tanya also is a CPA alumnus.
Yeah, good morning, Tanya. Absolutely.
So CPA is definitely representing on our live feed.
Absolutely. And again, what you're seeing from the live feed is, the CPA alumni or support the police department, believe in the police department, and this dedicated group of men and women, this is the free time. They're not getting paid anything for this, and they come out and they volunteer, and they believe in the police department and they believe in the community. And that's what makes Jonesboro great. We do have a lot of volunteerism in the city of Jonesboro, and that's what makes a community great, and a community working together what makes a great community. And I think we're very fortunate in Jonesboro to have the volunteerism that we do have in the city. And
we had some CPA members that volunteered at our Juneteenth celebration. And
that's right.
We definitely were thankful for them, and as well as everyone who took part of that. So, Chief, we talked about the past 4 years. So, what do you see in the next 4 years?
Well, we're constantly trying to progress, and again, starting with our community outreach, we're still looking at other different projects and things to reach out to the community and develop stronger relationships. On the administrative end of things, we have some issues over the next few years, equipment issues and things like that, that we're going to have to look at and seek funding for. So, running a police department, it's expensive. I
believe the police department is one of the most expensive things in the city of Jonesboro budget.
It is. It's you look at the equipment that these officers have and things like that. It gets costly, very quick, and so we have some equipment that is at the end of life, and it's going to need to be replaced, and that's it's going to cost a lot of money. So we plan, we start planning, we plan, we do a yearly budget, and of course I try to plan for 5 years out on things, different projects. So you have short-term, medium, and long-term planning, and you just got to work it in your budget, what you can afford to do that year. And it's like our body camera situation. We're using body cameras right now as part of a test program from Axon. They gave the department, every officer, a body camera to use for a year. Mm-hmm. And gives us a chance to evaluate the company, and we're going to have to buy into purchasing these cameras, before long. So yes, that's going to be a huge expense, but the benefit of the camera, having that information and that video has been helpful, and the officers, want them, and we feel that we need them because it's actually vindicated them from wrongdoing on numerous occasions. People make allegations, and it's like, well, let's pull up the camera. It's like, well, that didn't quite go down like you just come in and alleged against that officer.
Well, and I think it goes both ways.
It does.
Like you say, it can vindicate the officer, but it can also hold the officer accountable.
It does. It holds the officer accountable, and then the person realizes they're being videoed. They're more apt to not be confrontational or make up things. So it both ways it has helped, but I think it's a program that we're going to have to buy into. But again, it's an expensive program, and the biggest expense is just managing that kind of data that's generated. So
yeah, because all that video, you have to have big servers, to store it all and to categorize it for, especially when people request videos, like if someone was involved in an incident, they say, well, I want to see the video, or that person's attorney may say, well, we want that video, or even media requests.
Right. And that's what we deal with day in and out. And that's the thing that we like about this particular company. They have a software package that we can go in and retrieve this stuff and get it out to the media. Sometimes if the video contains juvenile, well, we can't release a video with juvenile's face on it unless the face has been redacted or fuzzied.
Can the software do that?
So the software can do that, and so we can never edit the actual raw footage. We have to make a copy, and then we can edit fuzzy the face on juveniles, or there's certain information that's said over the radio that's not part of public information. So if I run your name and your driver's license check, and that's being captured, then we have to edit that out before we can release it to the news media. So that's not part of FOIA, or Freedom of Information. So it does give us that capability, but again, the original footage can never be edited, so you can always prove in court that, hey, this is the original document, and then this is what we edited for release for the media.
And how long does that footage have to be kept? Is it for perpetuity or a certain number of years?
No, it depends on if there's an arrest made, then we'll keep the footage until it goes through court. If it's just a contact with a individual, say on the street, or I get called to your house or something, and there's no arrest or anything, we'll generally dump that off the server in about 60 days.
Okay.
So same thing with our car videos. We have a policy that certain things we'll categorize that video or that stop, and if there's an arrest or something linked to it that's important, or criminal case, then yes, it is permanently kept, or we burn a copy on a disc. But any other casual encounters, it's not important, then they'll dump off the server, so we free up server space.
Okay. Got a Facebook shout out from David Nunez, who says, Happy Independence Day. Let me know how I can help. Well, David, I would say start by joining CPA. I think you'll have a lot of fun, and especially with you being Hispanic, and I would say this to our Hispanic listeners, especially considering that I know that Hispanics have fears about encounters with police. I think this would be a great tool, and I'll actually transition into that, because with things that are going on in the community, with deportation, children being separated from their parents, there is a lot of fear in that community. Now, I know locally JPD doesn't get involved with things like that, but what can you say to the Hispanic community to alleviate their fears of coming forward, especially those who may not be here legally?
Right. Well, I mean, let's face it. We know that there are several individuals in the Hispanic community that are here illegal, and that is a federal issue, and that's nothing that local law enforcement, that we deal with. The issue going across the country now, the immigration, is what's being deported is people that's been involved in criminal activity in this country. That's the ones they're targeting for deportation. People that are just here, that are working, whatever. Immigration's not in rounding those folks up. That's not the problem, but it is a concern that they have, because they just don't know. So during my 4-year start here, I've talked to the Hispanic community several times, and including David Nunez. He has a group of individuals that he works with, and then the Hispanic Center. But when I took over, we realized that a lot of Hispanics sometimes were being victimized in the community, but they were afraid to report that they were being victimized because they were illegal. So I was trying to reassure them that if you are here illegally and you are a victim of a crime, then you can report that crime. We'll investigate your crime. We want to put the bad person in jail, obviously, but there's no fear of being deported, just because you've been victimized.
And so you basically just want to make sure that I understand this clearly. Basically, if someone, and I don't want to just target Hispanics, because there are people who come from other places that aren't here legally. So let's say an individual is here illegally and they are part of a victim of a crime,
right,
and they report it, you're not going to check their status and
we don't
turn them into the feds or
correct,
anything like that.
Right. No, and that's what we tried to build that relationship and that bridge with is, look, if you're a victim, we want you to be treated, we want the person arrested that victimized you. And so we're not looking to get you in trouble or anything else like that. So we had made some headway over the years with that, and I think we had overcome some of the fears up until recently when some of these other things started coming about. I think that is increasing the fear in the Hispanic community again about police and what's really going on across the country. So hopefully our legislators can come to some kind of mutual decision on the best way to deal with the problems that we're facing right now, and let's get this issue resolved.
And what other outreach are you doing in the Hispanic community, especially to recruit Hispanic officers? Because I think just like with the black community, if we can get more Hispanics on the force, I think that would make great inroads in their community.
Well, it has, and actually, during my 4-year tenure as chief, we've hired some Hispanic officers. So our community outreach has paid off to all walks of life, and even had an officer of Indian descent, and not Native American Indian, but so we've had some diversity, and again, we're continuing to try to reach out and be as diverse as possible.
And we're going to definitely do our part to assist you with that. Reverend Ota gives a thumbs up. Appreciate that, Reverend Ota.
Absolutely.
And of course, we're getting ready to go into our next break, but when we come back, we will wrap up our segment with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott on this 4th of July. Don't go anywhere. This is KLEK on 2.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Over the past several days, we've covered 6 of the 7 deadly sins of money management. The last of the deadly sins may be the worst one, sloth. That's just being plain lazy. An example of this is not taking the effort to create and follow a budget, track your spending, and stay on top of where your money is going. Too many of us would rather just work from memory or play it by ear. Anything to avoid the work. Don't give in to sloth. Investing the time and effort to actively manage and improve your finances will not only save you money, for example when filing your taxes, but help you to find more opportunities to make money. It's never too late to repent from the 7 deadly sins of money management. Change your mind and change your habits, and you can change how you handle your money. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
KLEK is conducting a listener survey that will allow for you to give feedback on the station. The information from responses to the survey will allow us to make KLEK a better radio station for you. The survey is on our website, www.klekfm.org, or if you need a paper copy, you can call the station on our business line, 870-203-9915. We ask that as many listeners as possible fill out the survey so that we may have the best possible feedback to continue to educate, entertain, and empower you and be your radio station. As a token of our appreciation, one lucky person who completes the survey will win $102.50. You must submit your email on the survey in order to qualify to win. The winner will be drawn August 1st. Also, each week in July, a winner will be drawn to win his or her choice of a KLEK coffee mug or hat. Again, the KLEK listener survey is on our website, www.klekfm.org. KLEK thanks everyone for their support.
Post Consumer Brands is now hiring full-time operators at their Jonesboro facility. Selected individuals will receive health, dental, and vision plans, 3 weeks of paid vacation, frontline incentive while working on an average 16 days a month. Qualifications for the operator position are mechanically inclined, good work and attendance history, and a team player.
More information, jobs.postconsumerbrands.com.
The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was established on January 1st, 1977, originally serving Blytheville, Arkansas, and now serving Jonesboro, Blytheville, Osceola, Marion, and West Memphis, Arkansas. Today, the chapter continues to make an impact by focusing on Alpha's national community outreach initiatives such as My Brother's Keeper, A Voteless People is a Hopeless People, Go to High School, Go to College, Project Alpha, Boy Scouts, and the March of Dimes. The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is committed to Alpha's mission of developing leaders, promoting brotherhood and academic excellence, while providing service and advocacy to the community. More information about the Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is available at MOL Alphas on Facebook or via email at molalphas@gmail.com.
Check out the Dorinda Clark Cole Radio Show every Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. Listen as Dorinda plays the very best in contemporary gospel music and interviews all of your favorite gospel artists. The Dorinda Clark Cole Radio Show every Sunday at 4 p.m. on KLEK 102.5 FM.
The Epic Center, located at 1899 Hasbrook Road, County Road 333, is Jonesboro's newest venue for entertainment for the entire family. They offer an auditorium with theater-style seating for up to 1,100 guests, a large stage, professional lighting and sound, dressing rooms, concessions, and more. Available for weddings, concerts, pageants, birthday parties, showers, and more. Booking and other information is available at Epic Center Jonesboro on Facebook, epiccenterjonesboro.com, and at 870-530-5841.
Did you know that KLEK 102.5 FM is a non-profit organization? Did you know that you can donate to KLEK 102.5 FM and your donation is tax deductible? Donations to non-profit organizations such as KLEK can reduce the amount of taxes you may owe the IRS or increase the amount of any potential tax refund. Support your KLEK today. You can donate by calling 870-277-1080, visiting our studio at 1411 Franklin Street in Jonesboro, or on our website www.klekfm.org. We at KLEK 102.5 FM are blessed and grateful for your support.
Meineke of Jonesboro is now Stark's Auto Service, a full-service auto repair and vehicle maintenance center, offering engine and transmission repair, brake service, tires, oil changes, and more, performed by ASE certified mechanics. Stark's Auto Service, 2813 South Caraway Road in Jonesboro, 870-204-7112. Stark's Auto Service, Jonesboro.com.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with our guest, Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott. And we've been having a great discussion on this 4th of July. And I definitely want to thank Chief for coming in on the 4th of July and speaking to us. And again, it just kind of shows his dedication to the community, because he Quabila had actually asked him did he want to reschedule, and he said, no, I'll come on Wednesday.
Right.
And so here we are. And, of course, we thank each and every one of you that has checked in on our Facebook Live feed. And, of course, if you want to check in, you still got a little bit more time left before we get up out of here. And, of course, you can also give us a call at 870-277-1080. So what are some other news or happenings going on with the police department? I believe the crime map report recently came out. So any comments on that or anything else going on with the police department?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, we do weekly and monthly reports on crime and traffic in Jonesboro. And again, that information is available to the public. If anybody's interested in that, they can contact Katie Haydar. She's our crime analyst, and be requested to put on the email this information. But we did have a trend in crime was down a little bit, so that's a good thing. And but crime trends, they change month to month, and sometimes during the summer months we may see a spike in some juvenile crimes because basically kids are out of school and they get bored. They sometimes get into things, but we use this data to direct our patrols and to concentrate our patrols in areas that's experiencing problems. So we depend on the data, on a daily basis on what we do.
Well, that's definitely a good thing to have. It again, as Chief Elliott said, this information is publicly available. We have a copy of it, so if you don't want to contact the police department, you can contact us here at KLEK, and we will happily forward that information to you. And of course, as Chief mentioned, this information is used to keep on top of what's going on in the community. If there's like a section of town in which there's a hot spot, then the police can address it. One thing that the police department is got going on during this time is the sobriety checkpoint. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. We run several times a year. We'll run sobriety checkpoints throughout the city. So this around the holidays. People tend to get out and party and whatever. So if you're out partaking and drinking alcoholic beverages, find a designated driver and don't drink and drive and risk going to jail and being assessed thousands of dollars in fines, or possibly hurting or killing somebody by driving while impaired. So do the right thing, be a responsible driver if you're out drinking, and otherwise you may encounter one of our sobriety checkpoints and end up in the county jail.
Well, as they say, drive sober or get pulled over. Got a Facebook shout out from Quabila, who says thank you to the entire JPD force for their work and dedication to the community.
Thank you.
And of course, Quabila, we thank you for that comment. We thank each and every one of you for this comment. So, Chief, what you gonna do for the rest of the day?
Well, let's head back to the office. I got a few things to get done, and probably this afternoon may do a little cooking.
Okay. Can I get a plate?
Yeah.
I'm messing with you, but as it shows, even as chief of police, even the chief works on a holiday. So
yeah, that's my people are working and I've got to work, so I got things to do. So no different.
All right, and Quabila says, I hope to see the relationship between police and residents continue to get better. We have to work together.
Absolutely, and that's my goal. We'll continue to work together and through different events and through programs like this.
All right, and shout out to Judy Castile. Judy, appreciate you for checking in. I know Judy, her and the West End group, they have a national night out at Annie Campus. A bunch of national night outs coming up. Of course, we'll talk about that more on a future edition of Community Conversations. So, Chief, want to thank you for stopping in on the studio on this 4th of July. Thank you to everyone that is listening. Don't forget, fill out our listener survey. It's on our website, klekfm.org, and you fill it out. If you put in your email address, you can get qualified to win $102.50. You don't have to, but if you want to win, you can. We will draw each Sunday a name to win a KLEK mug or hat, and the grand prize drawing will be August 4th. This is all Gospel Wednesday. Just because of the 4th of July, it's still Wednesday, and we still have to get our praise on. Of course, Brother Cops will join us at the 11 o'clock hour. May you guys have a great and blessed 4th of July. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Celebrating the 4th with friends and family.
Being with family. Fireworks and